you and I are a great example of how to properly use Facebook and social media because even though we both serve the same industry, you know, I was interested in you, you were interested in me. We developed a relationship, and we've actually, the most, as I said earlier, the most powerful thing, the most valuable thing I can come up with with social media is building a relationship. And I strongly believe I could go into any state. I know this. I could go into any state of the United States and I could find someone that I'm friends with on Facebook that would help me if need be. It was
Yep.
just it was just funny that yesterday one of my sales managers here, Felipe Tinajero, he's a young guy. He's 26. I'm 46 this week. So he's 20 years my junior. And he challenged me to a pull-up competition. And so right after the show, we ran to my house. I have a garage gym with the pull-up bar and everything. And so we just decided, okay, when we filmed it, by any means necessary, if you get your chin above the bar. So we started off doing strict, right? And I got, after about 7 or 8, I had to really get into the kipping style to get my chin above. And I was able to do 18. So then Felipe, again, 20 years younger, he got up there. And it was very, very close. I think on the 18th one, he didn't quite get his chin, so he was disappointed. Do you think he did it, Smith?
I think it was like a centimeter or two away. Like he would get his chin just underneath the bar, and he'd fall back down and try again.
Yeah. So anyway, it was fun. It was really fun, and I think he just didn't want to outshine the master. As you know, so he knows better than outshining the master. So he allowed me to win, is my belief. Anyways, this guy in Hawaii sees it and starts just critiquing us and telling us, you can't do it that way. You have to have your feet together and you have to. Yeah. And I think he was just, at first, I thought he was just trolling, right?
Right.
But I said, you know what? He got to me. So I attacked him back. And then about 5 or 6 or 10 of my friends and people here in the office just piled on the guy. So we used social media the wrong way yesterday. I feel victim. I let him troll me and I let him get to me.
Yeah.
Do you see that a lot out there when, do you see social media? I know you see it being used the right way. That's a part of what your business does, right? How do you deal with it? Do you struggle with it, or are you just one of those guys?
Oh, dude, I do, man. I do so much, especially recently. Like, I really struggle with it. And I'm like, delete. Okay, next, And so
Yeah.
I do that. I do.
So you're like me. You're in some. You want to do it, and some. You actually type it in. Sometimes you hit send.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of all that. I'm guilty of it, but I just don't see it. Like, I'm starting to learn, like, what am I going to do? Change someone's mind?
Right.
What does it matter? Everyone's like you're not going to do it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What is it? My job to change someone's mind that I don't really know that well? Like, I don't really, I'm just learning not to care about that. I can only put good out there. And I think there's like this vacuum for people that are like positive right now. Don't you? Like, just this sucking in the air. I can hear it. Like, for just somebody, please put something out there that's positive.
You know what? That's a great point. And I think you're right. I have not thought about it like that, but now that you mentioned that, and I look at the people, because there's some people out there doing that. And I do appreciate that, Chad. I do appreciate that. So though I'm up for a fight, you know what I'm saying? I think that it's probably more counterproductive than to be productive, because they're never going to admit you won the fight.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, that's how I got in. That I made all my friends by getting in fights, like fist fights.
Yeah.
Nobody has fist fights anymore. I feel kind of bad for the kids. Like, none of them get into fist fights, but that was a deal when I was a kid. Well, you're not that much younger than me, only a couple years. You probably remember that, like, meet at the after school and like, we're going to fight it out. Like the good old days, man. Yeah.
And they were the good old days, because, you either got beat up or you beat somebody up. There was never a question. It wasn't up for debate. I didn't leave the fight because I've been beat up before. I never left a fight after being beat up where I said, you know what? I got him. But on here, when we're on social media, you can fight and tempers flare and both people think they won.
It's really true, right? And I don't know. I feel like people are just weak anymore. But that's probably what our grandfather said too.
Yeah,
You
you're
guys
right.
are weak. Like every generation probably says the same thing. Maybe we are getting weaker. I don't know. But I just remember the days where, I mean, that's seriously how I made my friends. It was the wrong way to do it. I mean, I would get beat up or they would get beat up, but either way, I didn't like the feeling afterwards. No matter what, like I never liked the idea of having like enemies out there trying to prove myself right. And that's just kind of my personality anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny how things are like that. But social media is definitely interesting. People can just be whoever they want. And then when you meet them in public, and if you meet them, they can be completely different.
Yep.
And I've seen that at different conventions, whether it be NADA or some of these other conferences. And like, you are a completely different person. I thought you were so confident, but yet you're this just tiny little person, is afraid of, like everything. And it just blows my mind how different you can be when you're behind like your keyboard versus in person.
Absolutely. And you know what? Full disclosure, I'm qualified to talk about this because I've been guilty of being ugly on Facebook, and I did it with a purpose. Don't get me wrong. I believe in this. Money follows attention, so I try to get as much attention as I can. And in the past, I used to take advantage of every opportunity to make sure that they know who I was. If it mean getting into a disagreement, especially about sales and process and things like that, I've been into some Facebook spats for sure. And then I would see that person at a conference like, hey, man, how you doing?
It gets weird, right? Awkward.
Yeah.
No,
but there's some good guys out there that do what we do, man. And that, so here's what I'm going to do, Chad. I'm going to challenge you, not to the pull-up challenge, but I'm going to challenge you to be my accountability partner, and I'll do the same for you. If you know what I mean? I want to encourage you. I want you to encourage me, and maybe let's challenge all the people watching that's going to watch this to let's be positive, man. If there's a vacuum, Chad said there's a vacuum. I believe you, man. So let's be positive, because Facebook, my post this morning said it can be used for wonderful things, to keep us united, to build relationships, to stay in touch with people right now that we can't go see in person, grandmother, grandfather, aunts, uncles, things like that. It can be such a beacon for light, but it can also be used as a tool of destruction. And like any powerful tool, it can help or hurt you. So I want to let you and me be careful and make sure that we're using this thing as the best way possible, because I do believe this now, Chad. This is me on my soapbox being idealistic. We can make a difference in the world. We can absolutely do it with our friends right here on Facebook. And I feel like that's what this show's all about. So will you join me in the accountability challenge to keep this thing positive? My man, right there.